Cool. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for visiting this call. And today I am going to be interviewing Jai Dai. She's a product manager at APM. And this is the first episode of our product podcast series. And welcome, Jai.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, judging the whole purpose of the product podcast series is to let student listen to all the refined information and knowledge that you bring to the table in an offline manner, because we all know students are really busy, so they can visit these recordings whenever they want to.
Mhm.
So, let me quickly dive into the podcast. So, do you mind sharing a brief background of yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. My name is Jiajing, and you guys can call me JJ. I'm currently associate product manager at LinkedIn, working on app activation. So if you guys have any ideas about consumer growth for LinkedIn app or any feedback, feel free to reach out to me. And before I joined LinkedIn, I have an entrepreneurship experience when I was in undergrad, and we were building a video monitoring system to identify the illegal content in the videos. And a large short video company in China used our product to identify illegal content later on. And then I became passionate about product management and have multiple PM internships in Chinese tech companies, including Tencent and Sohu.com. And after my first year at Duke, I also had an internship as a digital marketer at Tesla China. My journey at Duke was a little bit different. So basically, after my first year, I took a gap of one semester and have my internship at Tesla and Tencent. And after I came back, because I need to apply for OPT, so I need another academic year at Duke. So I basically spent 4 semesters here.
Mhm. That's great. I mean, thank you so much for sharing all such details. So you mentioned that you are currently an APM at LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Do you mind giving a little bit more in-depth information about how was the process of getting into the APM program and how the whole sorts of interviewing process worked out for you?
Yeah, sure. So I was because I was pretty determined to be a product manager when after I graduated from Duke. So I was applying for associate product manager programs in the United States and also product manager roles for new grads back in China. So in the United States, I applied for I think 9 companies, and all of them are APM programs. So in the end, I interviewed Google APM onsite and Lyft APM onsite, and also get an offer from Palo Alto Networks. But finally, I chose LinkedIn APM program. So the whole process was first, I got a list of the companies and programs I'm going to apply for, and make sure that I know the start date of those programs, because for the APM programs, those are pretty competitive. So probably you need to apply on the first or second day. So that's why I confirm all the start date with the candidates from the previous year, and also confirm all the people who can refer me to the program. And after that, I believe like most of you guys have heard of the 3 books that you need to read when you prepare for product manager interviews. The first one is Decode and Conquer. The second one is Cracking the PM Interview. And the third one is the PM Interview Questions. And after that, tons of mock interviews with people with diverse background. I remember the first time that I prepared for mock interview, it was like around March and April in 2020. And because Facebook RPM has 2 cohorts, first one is April the 1st and second one, the August the 1st. So I prepared with a lot of RPM candidates. That was the first time that built my foundations of those mock interviews and how to answer product design questions, strategy questions, execution questions. And after that, I developed my enthusiasms to the tech companies. So I basically research on all the companies that I'm interested in, watch their conferences, like F8 conference, IO conference from Google, and LinkedIn, we have Talent Connect. So basically just know more about what the companies are doing and be prepared of what is happening in the market. And after that, the most important thing is talk with product managers in the industry, try to understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. I mean, so actually picking up on your last thing that you said about why product managers are doing, do you mind sharing what is your day-to-day at as a LinkedIn APM and how does it work?
Yeah, sure. So first, let me sell you this program a little bit. So for people who do not have previous product management full-time working experience, APM, which is known as Associate Product Manager programs, will be the best choice for you. Because but for some of the APM programs like Twitter, they prefer like undergrads or like or maybe like the younger the better. I don't know exactly like how they come up with this, but I know Twitter prefer undergrad, and a lot of other APM programs also like prefer people who literally don't have any working experience before. But for LinkedIn APM or Facebook RPM, there is no such restriction. So these programs want your previous experience to be diverse, no PM full-time experience. So in LinkedIn APM program, we have people who worked already like for 5 years, people who just graduate from MBA programs, people who are new grads just like me, and people who are undergrad. And also a ton of people who internally transfer from LinkedIn other functions. So that's one of the things I like about LinkedIn APM program. It is pretty diverse, and you can get different perspectives from different people in the program. And also for a lot of APM programs in the tech industry, the companies really want to make sure that these people get the best PM education. And so it's LinkedIn APM. So apart from my day-to-day work in my team, which is the growth team, acquisition growth team, LinkedIn also has PM education specifically for APMs or new PMs at LinkedIn. So we have courses to teach us how to initiate product ideas, how to do experiments, to validate your idea, how to communicate cross-functionally, how to execute a product plan, those kind of stuff. And we also have product boot camps to brainstorm and discuss ideas. And also we have regular talks with executives, not only like executives from LinkedIn, also executives from other companies as well, because LinkedIn has a very broad network among all the companies. And also, the last but not the least, we have world travel. So LinkedIn will sponsor APMs to travel around the world to understand different culture in different country.
Oh my, that's so cool.
I'm just selling our program.
No, it sounds really, really interesting. I mean, it's such a great learning curve for, I mean, whoever is a LinkedIn APM. While you're on this job, what would you say is one of the most important skills, one or two of the most important skills a product manager should know?
I think I bet you guys probably like think about maybe, you guys probably have seen the image of the intersection of design and business and tech. So I'm thinking for design and especially business, there are a lot of courses at MEM that can help you to prepare for those parts. But recently, as I talk with more product managers and more like product executives at LinkedIn, I found there is one thing that is like the most important thing for product managers, or like for product managers who want to have a successful career, is the ability of asking why, and also the continuous learning after that. For example, like there is all kinds of information presenting to you every day. You are using Facebook app, I'm using Facebook app. You are using LinkedIn, I'm using LinkedIn, right? And the most important thing is, as a product manager, you need to think about why they are designing like this, why they're designing the product like this. And if you have the ability to reach out to people, to reach out to the product manager who are responsible for that, just ask them and to validate your idea. Maybe think about the possibilities why they're doing this, and validate your idea by networking. And also for all the products, they're not perfect. So try to think about how to improve those stuff and why those companies are not improving those initiatives right now. So I would say this is the most important skill I want to sell to you guys.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that, because like asking question why in the design aspect is something that I guess we tend to lack in MEN program. If I'm yet to complete like one more semester, so I don't know, but do you mind sharing your MEM journey and how it kind of prepared you for like the ideal APM role at LinkedIn?
Um, I'm thinking the first thing might be the courses, like the business courses. The most valuable courses, I think, will be competitive strategies or marketing, those great professors telling you all about the business. And on the other hand, design courses like design thinking, those are pretty great courses. And the second thing, apart from the courses that I want to talk about, I think what is really important is the education to tell you how to do networking and how to behave professionally at Duke. I still remember the first time that I scheduled a career service at our career center. I was like 5 minutes late, and our just like saying, you know, you cannot do this when you're at the workplace. So it is very important to, you know, there are people who are helping you to make the transition from students to professionals. So I think that is pretty helpful. And also Professor Holmes telling us how to develop a template to reach out to people on LinkedIn. I still find that helpful right now. Like I'm still like constantly reaching out to product managers from other companies, especially they're working on growth. So I still have the template to reach out to people and tell them clearly what I want from them. So yeah, I think that is pretty helpful as well. And also from GCC, like the Graduate Communication Center, they really taught me how to talk professionally and also do professional writing. So I think that will be the major takeaways from MEM program.
That's great. I mean, that definitely, I mean, I'm not sure how many people are using the graduate professional services, but now that you have called it out, I believe a lot of students will definitely use that resource. So Jajin, you pointed out about professionalism. Do you mind sharing how the industry, the professionalism at industry works on a day-to-day basis and how it is different from what we used to observe as students or what you experienced as a student?
I think one point that I want to share with you guys is that when you are a student, you always want to request help from others. But in professional networking, it is always about exchanging resources. So when I was a student, like I was also confused, like how can I provide help to others? How can I provide help to those professionals? I need professional help, but what do they need? So, but later on, as I expand my network, and also I'm a part-time content creator, so I've got a lot of product managers or people at Silicon Valley following me. I found like people on the other side, probably sometimes they do not need professional help from us, but they need some other kind of help in their lives. So for example, maybe you are an expert in a specific field, and that doesn't mean like necessarily to be like professional, but probably you can also provide some kind of help to those professionals as well. So I think as a student, you could always think about what you can provide to the other part. What can you help to the other part? Maybe the other person probably wants some connections with someone in your previous company. Just try to help them to connect. No matter how well you know about the person that they want to connect, just try your best. I think that is something I feel like really different with the time that I was a student.
Got it. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, the exchange of value is kind of really important. I mean, if it's just one way, people tend to reply you a lot less, I have a feeling. But yeah, that makes sense. Judging one, actually not the last question, I have one more left for you. So sorry about that. When you were when you were at LinkedIn right now, your day-to-day, how difficult, how easy it is, and when students are transitioning from being a student to being a professional, what is the best way forward, and like how to not get bogged down by working in the corporate world?
That's a pretty great question. I'm thinking for different companies, they probably have different cultures. Like when I would say like the real transition for me from a student to a professional will be the time that I spent at Tesla. Because that role was a digital marketing role. And for as a digital marketing you need to be very cautious about what you are going to talk about with your partners, external partners, and what you can talk about in the maybe official like marketing campaigns that you are going to send out to millions of people. So I think that will be the transition for me from a student to professional. And I need, I think at that time, what is a pretty like transition for me will be the time that I truly be responsible for something. Like I truly be responsible for the number of leads we generate from each marketing campaign, or the partnership we develop at that time. And also, especially during that time, there are basically 3 people, digital marketer at Tesla China. And my mentor and manager were thinking about leaving Tesla at that time. So like, I was taking a lot more responsibility than I'd expected. So they really trained me well to be responsible for the whole department and what you are doing and how could you fit what you are daily doing into the company strategy. And when I joined LinkedIn, I found the culture is a lot more different. Like at LinkedIn, I found people are still professional, but they're more chill and they're pretty open about the questions you ask. Because you're not a marketer, you're not dealing with external partners, you are just making friends internally. So people are pretty open to help you. And I got a lot of advice from people who just joined LinkedIn as associate product manager, telling me that ask a lot of questions and be prepared to ask a lot of dumb questions. It's totally okay. So I found after the first month that I joined LinkedIn, I was developing the psychological safety in our team. And right now I have the safety and I have the confidence to talk about anything that I want in front of people and ask anything I want, to propose anything I want, and to sell my ideas to other people. So I think that's quite the transition for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you've pointed out one of the big aspects of psychological safety in a team where we learn in, I guess, management about this, and Professor Edward Marshall talks about it a lot. So thank you so much for pointing it out. And it is actually being used in the professional world is a really good like checking point for us as students to learn that subject in really depth. So thank you so much for sharing it.
Right. And I think it really depends on your manager and your mentor. Like if they are pretty experienced manager, I would say they will try their best to create the psychological safety for people who work for them. So that's what I learned from my manager and my mentor. Like they really encouraged me to speak up in front of people, and they encouraged me to propose new idea, or like even after 2 months that I joined LinkedIn, they want me to develop my own product roadmap for the next 1 year that I work here. So I think they give me really a lot of responsibilities, and they also encourage me to think big and do something really matters to LinkedIn. So yeah, I feel really thankful.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. So Jajing, I have one last question for you. What would you give as a final tip for the current MEM students?
I think the most important tip I want to give to MEM students will be plan your time well. Because you need always to remember that the time you spend at Duke is pretty short. Like if you consider the fall recruitment every year, maybe most of the people will take 1.5 years at Duke. And during the first fall recruitment, you maybe are not prepared. Like after you realize that you need to modify your resume and improve your interviewing skills, then like most of the programs probably end their recruitment already. So, and for the next year, you need to plan everything well. You need to get prepared. You need to research on all those companies, and just as what I said, like confirm all the people who can refer you, and also do all the mock interviews preparation beforehand. So then you can put all your energy to face all those interviews coming up. So I would say, and there are a lot of courses we need to take. There are a lot of relationships that we need to maintain. There are a lot of clubs that we need to attend. There are a lot of events that we do not want to miss at Duke. But make sure to plan your time well, because if you want to get a product manager role, especially at the United States, it's really hard. The headcounts for entry-level product managers are pretty little. So be prepared for that.
Well, yeah. So just a heads up to everybody that be proactive, be prepared, and yeah, just target that opportunity. Well, today, I guess that's about it from Jayajing. And thank you so much, Jayajing, for sharing the insights with all of us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Make sure to apply for LinkedIn APM program.